Not everyone who touches your heart is meant to stay, and not everyone who stays truly belongs to your heart. Yet somehow, two souls meet. They feel drawn together, choose each other, and bind themselves in marriage. Is it chance, destiny, or something deeper, something that began long before you ever laid eyes on one another? In the Buddhist tradition, nothing happens without a cause. The principle of padakasamuppada, or dependent origination, teaches us every effect arises from a condition. Every meeting has roots, even if they're invisible to the present moment. This is especially true in love. Some marriages are born from tenderness, others from karmic debt. Some begin in joy and end in growth. Others begin in pain and awaken truth. Have you ever felt strangely drawn to someone beyond all logic, like your heart remembered something your mind could not name? That pull, that recognition, may not be romance. It may be karma. In the unseen threads of our past lives, we've made promises, caused pain, shared moments, or left things undone. And in this life, love becomes the field where those karmic seeds bloom, sometimes as beauty, sometimes as challenge. Marriage, then, is not simply about companionship. It's a sacred mirror, a space where the past echoes back through our present, and where two souls are offered the chance to know always to find happiness, but to wake up. So before we step further, ask yourself, what if the person you chose to love was also the person your soul needed to heal? This is where our story begins. In Buddhist thought, Samsarathi's cycle of rebirth is not just about physical lives. It's also about emotional echoes, unfinished promises, and karmic patterns that keep returning in different forms. Sometimes, the person who leaves you today is the one you abandoned lifetimes ago. The pain you feel now is not punishment, it's restoration. Karma does not seek revenge, it seeks balance. Have you ever felt magnetically drawn to someone who wasn't right for you? Or found yourself stuck in a relationship that feels strangely familiar, like you've lived it before? That may not be love. That may be karma repeating itself, asking to be seen, healed, and released. There are also times when two souls meet too early. They love each other, but they're not yet ready. One is still shedding past wounds, while the other is still learning how to stay. And so, love becomes struggle. Not because the love is wrong, but because the timing is. In karma, timing is everything. You can meet the right person at the wrong time and still end up breaking each other. Marriage, in this view, isn't a destination. It's a reflection. Your partner becomes a living mirror, not just of your strengths, but of the parts of you that are hidden, hurting, or afraid. You may think, they make me feel insecure. But what if they're only reflecting your own self-doubt? You may say, they don't see me. But have you truly seen yourself? In Zen, it is taught, when the mind is clear, the world reflects clearly. But when the mind is clouded by attachment and unhealed pain, even love begins to feel like rejection. This is why many marriages are not failures, they are mirrors. Some crack to show us where we're still fractured. Others stay intact to remind us what wholeness looks like. And when the timing is right and both souls are ready, the mirror doesn't just reflect wounds, it reflects awakening. So the next time your heart is drawn to someone, ask yourself, is this love? Or something much older returning to be resolved? Because what pulls us in isn't always affection. Sometimes it's a karmic echo waiting to be understood. Most of us grow up dreaming of a partner who brings us peace, comfort, and ease. But in the path of inner awakening, the true partner is rarely the most comfortable one. They are the one who challenges your illusions. They stir your wounds not to hurt you, but to help you see what still needs healing. In Zen and Buddhist thought, the ideal partner is not the one who soothes your ego. It's the one who disrupts it just enough for your true self to emerge. Pain in a relationship is not always a problem, it can be a portal. Have you ever noticed how someone you love can trigger you more than anyone else? That's not weakness. That's the mirror effect of intimacy. When two karmic paths collide, their energy doesn't just blend, it breaks open everything unhealed. A conscious marriage doesn't avoid discomfort, it walks straight through it. It holds space for shadow work, for truth-telling, for tears. It is less about happily ever after, and more about deeply ever present. You might expect love to lift you up, but real love sometimes burns. It burns away false selves, old wounds, and unconscious patterns. In that burning, you find your essence. There's an old Zen imaginat of a candle and the wind butt of a stone in the river. The river flows fast, testing the stone with every wave. Over time, the stone is not worn down, it is polished. Smoother, clearer, stronger. So it is with relationships. The partner who tests you may also be the one who shapes you. In Buddhist marriage teachings, the goal is not to make the other stay. It is to become the kind of person who no longer clings. Love that survives pain becomes deeper. Love that awakens truth becomes sacred. So the next time someone triggers you, ask, is this pain pointing to them or to a part of me still waiting to be healed? Because the one who stirs your suffering might also be the one sent to set you free. And once you understand that love is not always comfort, but a mirror, you begin to see marriage not as a fairy tale, but as a reflection. A sacred space where your hidden karma comes to light. When people think of marriage, they often dream of completion, finding the one who will fill the missing spaces inside. But in the teachings of Zen and Buddhist psychology, marriage isn't about completion, it's about reflection. Your partner does not exist to make you whole. They exist to show you all the parts of you that still long to be healed. Their silence may reflect your fear of abandonment. Their criticism may echo the voice in your head that says you're never enough. And their distance might reveal how far you've grown from your own self-love. In karmic bonds, the partner is rarely random. They arrive when a lesson within you is ready to awaken. Sometimes, it's not love that pulls you toward them, but resonance. The soul recognizes a familiar wound, a familiar energy, a promise not yet fulfilled. There's a story of a gentleman who kept attracting partners who emotionally neglected him. Not once, but again and again. Until one day, he sat in meditation and asked, "Why does love always hurt?" A monk replied, "Because your soul is not chasing love. It's chasing the pain you once caused, and now need to understand. You don't always fall in love. Sometimes you fall into karma. The pull is deep, magnetic, irrational. But it's not always to build a life, it's sometimes to bring a pattern to light. Painful relationships often serve one sacred purpose: to awaken. If someone makes you feel small, ask, is it them, or are they simply reflecting a belief you already carry? In Zen, the mirror is a sacred symbol. When the mind is clear, the world reflects clarity. But when the mind is clouded by old wounds, even love feels like rejection. Your partner is not the cause. They are the canvas where your karma paints its unfinished stories. We often enter marriage expecting to be met with affection, ease, and validation. But a spiritual partnership, as understood in Zen, is not about comfort. It is about revelation. The other person does not enter your life to soothe all your wounds. Sometimes they arrive simply to show you where the wounds are. Imagine walking through a quiet temple. There's a mirror hanging in the meditation hall, not ornate, not polished, just clear. You glance into it and see not your outer appearance, but your doubts, your fears, your longings all reflected without distortion. This is what marriage can become when lived mindfully. A sacred mirror, always reflecting the state of your inner world. If you feel ignored in your relationship, ask, where in my own life have I been ignoring myself? If you feel unworthy in their presence, ask, have I made worthiness conditional in my own heart? The moment you shift the question from, why are they doing this to me, to, what are they showing me about myself, you move from blame to awakening. And that single shift can change the entire experience of love. Many people try to fix their partners, hoping to fix the pain. But in Zen, we are reminded, you do not purify the reflection, you purify the water. Your partner may not always respond with kindness. They may project their pain onto you just as you may onto them. But if even one of you chooses awareness, to pause, to observe, to breathe before reacting, then that relationship becomes fertile ground for transformation. Marriage is not sacred because it is permanent. It is sacred because it offers a rare chance to be seen completely and still be invited to grow. That is why Zen doesn't ask you to escape discomfort, but to sit with it, soften around it, and ask, what is this teaching me? A true spiritual union does not avoid conflict. It transforms it, not by force, but through presence. When both partners commit not just to each other, but to awareness within themselves, then the home is no longer just a house. It becomes a temple of awakening. And sometimes what you're meant to learn in marriage is not how to hold on, but how to let go with gratitude. Because only in that release does the door to true freedom begin to open. And in the next chapter, you'll see why letting go can be the most loving act a soul is ever capable of. Not all marriages are born from passion or romance. Some are born from something deeper, something older, a sacred echo from a previous life where one soul once gave and the other never forgot. In the field of karma, gratitude has a gravity of its own. A woman may find herself bound in a marriage not because she is in love, but because her soul remembers a kindness, a shelter offered when she had none, a life saved when hers was slipping away. And now, without words, without reason, she stays. Not out of joy, but out of silent reverence. But karma does not ask us to suffer endlessly. It asks us to honor what was given, and once that debt is acknowledged, the soul becomes free to move forward. Liberation is not in endurance. It is in awareness. It is in the quiet moment when you say, I have seen you, I have thanked you, and now I release you. Some karmic marriages exist not for comfort, but for contribution. Two souls meet not to satisfy each other, but to serve something larger. Their bond becomes a doorway for awakening, not just for themselves, but for others. When love is aligned with Dharma, it stops asking, what do I get? And begins asking, what can we build together? But not all karma is completed in one lifetime. When lessons remain unlearned, the faces may change, but the pain remains the same. A woman who keeps attracting distant men may one day realize she's not being punished. She's being reminded. Because karma does not punish. It repeats until you awaken. And the final gate of karmic marriage is forgiveness. To forgive someone who could not love you right is not weakness. It is wisdom. It is telling the universe, I've learned the lesson. You may let the pain rest now. In this letting go, karma is no longer a loop. It becomes a path, a spiral that rises toward clarity, toward peace, toward freedom. In the end, the question is not, how long did the marriage last? The real question is, did it help me awaken? Because from the Zen view, that is all that ever matters. Marriage is never just between two bodies. It is a union of energies, of histories, of unfinished stories that echo far beyond the present. When you choose a partner, consciously or not, you are choosing a mirror that will show you not only who they are, but who you truly are beneath every mask. And the deeper truth is, you do not just marry a person. You marry your karma. You marry the unspoken fears you haven't dared to face. You marry the stories you carry in your nervous system, the beliefs inherited from generations, the wounds you've silently tucked away. Marriage, in a spiritual form, is not meant to be easy. It is meant to be awakening. Because only in this intimate proximity can your hidden self come to the surface. The irritation you feel, it may not be about them. It may be a part of you asking to be healed. The distance, it might be your own walls. The longing, it may not be for their attention, but for your own self-acceptance. In Zen, we are taught that the way is in the seeing. And marriage gives you that seeing every single day. It is a path walked not beside another, but beside your own reflection, shaped through the other's presence. It's not about being completed. It's about becoming whole through the work, through the tears, through the stillness. Some marriages are lifelong. Others last only as long as the soul needs to learn what it came for. And that's not failure. That's grace. The question is not, did it last? The question is, did it wake you up? And if it did, then the marriage, no matter how long or brief, served its highest purpose. So whether you are in a relationship, ending one, or yearning for one take, a breath, turn inward. Ask not who will stay with me, but rather who will help me return to myself. Because in the end, the greatest love story is not between you and someone else. It is between you and your own awakening. If this message touched something within you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with someone who may need it today. And in the comments, reflect with us. What has your relationship or your longing for one taught you about yourself?